today, our webinar is Data Protection Predictions for 2023, presented by Deepex Network and Straits Interactive.
We did a study on the trends of where data protection and data privacy will be heading for the year. We have identified 5 trends that will affect your job role as a data protection officer if you are looking at career progression or job opportunities in data privacy. The digital transformation that started because of COVID-19 will continue. However, it will bring about increased privacy and security threats. While 5G has better inbuilt security that is superior to 4G, there are also a bunch of risks because of those connected devices, especially IoT devices that were not necessarily manufactured with security in mind.
With the introduction of new technologies, there'll be a new playground where the people out there who have evil intentions may want to exploit the new technology for their own private gains. So that's why it's important that there needs to be proper governance, a proper and ethical use of such technologies, especially when the technologies are hinged upon invading the privacy of individuals.
We talk about security a lot, and the scammers are out there and busy as well. I saw some statistics the other day where the number of bank robberies everywhere is going down, and in fact one country it was 0 for the first time since banks were invented. But the number of scammers is going up because they can just sit for 24/7 and figure out how to trick people. We're all pretty familiar with the idea that, I don't know, Facebook or TikTok or whatever sell your data or collect it and then sell it. But actually there's a wide range of industries that are doing that, and even more worrying, some of them are lying about what they do.
So some of us might want to be rethinking how we can be relevant, because many companies are struggling while others are hoping to get back on track with their business recovery. Governing data is going to be important. Don't just go to your management and highlight the risks of or wanting to decrease the risk to personal data. There's also the value part that you might want to support.
Increasingly, we are seeing companies, when they talk about data governance, it has to be something that's to be addressed at the board level and not something that's done by the IT.
The second trend, ladies and gentlemen, is we will see continued increase in all of the enforcement activities. And I want to remind everyone that it's not just data security. You can also see that transparency is a big thing. Look at the number of companies getting into trouble for not being transparent in their practices, and also look at the higher number of enforcements covering the lawfulness of processing.
I forget how many million, 290 million euros or something, fine against Meta on the 4th of January. But that complaint was originally filed on the day the GDPR came into force. So it's taken, 4 years, 5 years as you go through the process. So there'll be a lot in the works. I think the numbers don't disclose everything. Just imagine the business disruption that these companies have gone through while they're dealing with an investigation process, while they're paying their lawyers to help them. I kind of like that. But, how much has it cost them in addition to the fines, just dealing with all of this? How much does it cost them in public perception and trust as well?
I'd like to draw your attention in terms of the total number of fines. If you notice that last year, the fines were 467,000 versus 309,000. And if you do the math behind it, you can see the average fines are actually going up. If you ever get into trouble with the law, now it's about $25,000 per fine. What you used to get fined for 5,000, if you get fined for the same offense, it will probably find you at a higher number. I also want to remind everyone, if you do get into trouble because of a cyber attack, they might have what we call incidental findings. So you might get in trouble and then you discover, oh, you don't have a DPO. Oh, you didn't implement a data protection policy. We should also take note, it is not just protecting the data, but ensuring that we comply with other principles.
One of the phenomena we discovered while working with different companies in the earlier years when the PDPA in Singapore was first implemented, a number of companies think it's just a compliance role. And the top management will say, since it's a compliance role, let's just throw it to the compliance department. Over the years, then people have realized that actually when we talk about privacy and security, it has significant impact on business operations and business objectives. So then organizations begin to look at this as one of the major risk factors in trying to achieve the organization's objectives.
Yes, the maximum fine has, and I come across people who say, well, you know, they only fine 100,000, they don't fine 1 million. And my answer to that is, do you think they went to all this trouble to get the fine increased by, you know, to go to 10% of turnover if they're not going to use it? It's only a matter of time.
For those of you who are on social media or your technologies are incorporating social media or leveraging social media, surveillance of children's data, this one is for you.
CCTV surveillance and surveillance for the purpose of security, not only information security, but the security of premises, of physical facilities. That is something that is essential. But at the same time, because of the pervasive use of CCTV cameras, they in a way also intrude into the privacy of individuals. There's always this dilemma between how much security to put in and also making sure that it doesn't introduce new forms of intruding into the privacy of individuals.
For more data protection resources, visit www.dpaxnetwork.org, the Data Protection Excellence Network, and sign up for free as a member to have full access to all content. Do also like and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn if you found this useful.
If you are not aware, UK is now closely monitoring 50 organizations offering children's services, online services. They came out with a code that they expect everyone to follow, and they are actually investigating 4 companies. And rumor has it that 2 of them are tech giants.
So why would companies like to have their data? That's because they can sell their data to other organizations that can influence their thoughts, influence the way they behave, because children, they are at the impressionable age where they can be easily influenced, their minds can be easily molded. So that's where the danger comes in. And especially in your areas of people who are lurking in the background, trying to make victims out of children.
In this case, the app was serving invisible advertisements and making purchases on behalf of their customers or users without consent. I also want to draw your attention about what's going on where the mobile app could be sharing data with third parties through the advertising network. And many people are not aware that because your app is free, you are actually the product.
I think you've got 2 things happening. You've got some organisations saying, look, Mr. Developer, make sure that you're going to be tracking this, make sure that you're going to be selling this. I want to get all these clicks per whatever. I want to do ad tech. Now, whether that's good or bad is whatever it is, but they consciously do it. But you see some other cases where the developers kind of go off on a frolic of their own.
Because such companies, they are motivated by profit, they are motivated by market share. So they will do all means to reach out to the targeted consumers. So even though they can say that they're not going to do certain things, but behind the scenes, we know that they are secretly siphoning away your data.
So I just want to quickly get everyone to be mindful that at the end of this year, we expect all the ASEAN countries to have a data protection law. They're all going to be new. So we expect to see the Bruneian law, the Vietnamese law to be introduced. If they don't come out this year, it will be probably next year. Then you have the Indian bill that we expect to be passed as a data protection law. The good news is obviously there's going to be huge demand for data protection expertise. So for those of you who are trained in data protection, you are going to be in hot demand.
What we're seeing in the US is state by state laws coming in, and they're all different. So imagine how difficult it must be to operate in the US when you've got to do things slightly differently in every state. So I think they'll start, if they've not already started, actually lobbying very hard. The big companies will lobby very hard for federal law.
Let me show you some very interesting trends that for those of you who are job seekers or looking at career progression, this is the latest results of our survey where we look at job positions in the Singapore market. And I just want to remind all of you, this is only 1 month postings. So every year, about the same time, between October or November, we will look for all the job opportunities. And I want to draw your attention that as of last year, just in 1 month, there were 695 job positions available. In the year before, it was only 309.
This is actually a very, very healthy trend. So it goes to show that like what Lynn has said earlier, data protection has become into mainstream, so much so that organizations are becoming aware that one of the roles inside the job description of even people who are doing HR, finance, marketing, and so on, they need to know something about data governance, data protection. Is part and parcel of getting things done, getting the organization to achieve its business and strategic objectives.
So before I elaborate on this, I would like everyone to just be mindful of the different ways hackers can use AI and machine learning. So while we are using AI and machine learning in all walks of life, the hackers are also becoming more intelligent, like generating more sophisticated phishing emails. And you can see all these cases here. And we had a case 2 years ago where fraudsters used deepfake biometrics, and they used that to hack into China's taxation system. So that brings us, ladies and gentlemen, to the ethical use of technology. Now, for those of you who are trained in ethics, you will notice on the left-hand side, you have your standard ethical principles. Now, you might want to educate, you might want to be familiar how these same ethical principles are now finding its way into AI ethical principles, which the AI laws are going to be looking at. Last year, we also introduced, because we saw the potential of data governance. For those of you who want to make the switch from data protection to data governance, to make sure that you are at the cutting edge, you might want to take the advanced diploma in data governance and management. And for those experienced, you might want to be certified as a data protection officer by the International Association of Privacy Professionals. You can see the different certification programs that are for the respective segments here. Okay, so if you are a legal professional, then take the CIPP. I do want to draw your attention, if the industry is moving, we are seeing digital transformation, then for those of you who are DPOs, you might want to go for the GRC certification programs, because when you do processing of personal data, you're governing data, you are doing risk management of data, and you are also doing compliance of data. I also want to highlight to everyone, this is a new certification that is out, but it approaches data protection from a GRC perspective instead of a legal perspective. Now, we've noticed that a lot of data privacy officers, you're pretty weak on the operational side. So this is something that we would like to recommend you. It's called the IDPP, the Integrated Data Privacy Professional. You can put the title IDPP behind your name, which suggests that you are trained from a GRC perspective.
I think we're all in a very interesting industry sector, if that's the right word for it. This is just going to get bigger and bigger as more and more new things happen, and it's an exciting place to be.
I started off talking about the savviness of users. As we see more and more sophisticated and advanced technologies come on stream, then along will come new scammers, hackers, new threats. I want to focus attention more on the human side of it. It's very important that people should be trained how to make a discernment to how they use the information, how they share the data, and how, say for example, click on certain things that's made available to them.
I will tell you that data protection is in demand, and that's something that needs time. By the time there's huge demand, it's too late. So for all the folks here, I would ask you to prepare your roadmap. So for those of you who are not trained, are there any free courses out there? Yes, you can read it, but it's very different when you go to a paid course, because go for those that have got industry experience. Don't just look at the legal side, look at the operational side of things, because that's where the real action comes in, right? The breaches come about because of a lack of the SOP, standard operating procedure, or a lack of a mechanism. So those are my takeaway messages for all of you. And I want to thank you folks, and the research will be made available.
For more data protection resources, visit www.dpaxnetwork.org, the Data Protection Excellence Network, and sign up for free as a member to have full access to all content. Do also like and follow us on Facebook and LinkedIn if you found this useful.